Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today, our topic is going to be Numberline, ordering numbers. Again, this is Dr. Robinson. I'm going to be talking to you all about the Numberline, how to order on our Numberline. So, we got a few notes that we want to go over. So let's start by talking about the vocabulary. Our first word was rational number. We talked about that before. Rational number is any number that can be written as a fraction. And I want you to notice the RATIO is in red because that word RATIO is ratio. Ratio is a fraction. So rational, if you notice the first 5 letters of that word is spelled ratio. So that's one word to remember. A fraction is a ratio. Note, whole numbers, integers, fractions, and some decimals are rational numbers. Notice some is in red because not all decimals are rational. Decimals must terminate or repeat to be a rational number. More vocabulary. Integers. Integers are whole numbers, including 0 and their opposites. Opposite is another way of saying additive inverse. Absolute value. The total distance a number is away from 0. Note, distance is always positive, so you're always going to get a positive answer when you're dealing with absolute value. The symbol, those parallel lines, is the absolute value symbol. Example, the absolute value of negative 8.15 is equal to 8.5. Just notice the negative sign was removed, the number stayed the same. So the value of that absolute value of negative 8.15 is positive, or just 8.15. Because absolute value is distance, and distance is always positive. Here we have some students of mine, and they have their favorite number. They want to graph their numbers from least to greatest. Well, what would be the process of dealing with that? In order to graph on the number line, there are some steps that are required. Write all numbers as decimals and locate each on the number line. So we need to go back and turn all of those numbers into decimals. Well, the first one is pi. Pi, we know, is a Greek letter, and we remember from a long time ago when we had an estimate for pi, we had 3.14. And that's what we used to always say was the value of pi, but that's not correct. It's an approximation. But we can round it off just to say it's 3.14. 5 1/8. 1 is our next number that is not a fraction, but we know it's 5 and something. 5.125 to be exact, but we're not going to change it to a decimal because we know it's a little bit more than 5. The other numbers are already decimals, and the last number happens to be a decimal with a negative sign in front of it. So we know on our number line, negative 2 would be this number way over here. So it's close to negative 2, 2.14. So we could put that number over there. The next number would be 1.14, which is over here. So it's a little bit more than 1, so we can put that over there. The next number is 3.14, which we gave as an estimate for pi, which is close to 3. And the last number, as I said, we don't have to make it a decimal, but we know it's 5, a little more than 5, but you can make it a decimal. And that would be the order from least to greatest. So his number is the least, her number is the next, and his, and then finally his. Greatest from least to greatest. So remember, ordering on the number line, write all the numbers as decimals, then locate each of those numbers on your number line. Here's one for you. Try it yourself. See if you can locate and order those on the number line correctly. All right, let's take a look at the smallest or the least number. We have 0.52, 37%, which we can change that to 0.37. We have 0.19, and we have 1/4, which we can change that fraction, which is 1/4 or a quarter, into 0.25. So the smallest one looks like, and when we're talking numbers with not decimal numbers, I would say C, 19 cents, because 19 cents is like money, change. The next one would be 25 cents, a quarter. So that would be the next one. And 37% is the same thing as saying 37 cents would be the next one. And the last one, 52 cents, is our order. So I hope you got that order. If not, go back and check. Make sure you change all of those decimals and percents and fractions. Change everything to a decimal and make sure of your place values. And then compare. Here's one for you. Which is the least? Negative pi, 7/10, square root of 5, negative 1/2. So which one of those would be the least? And you can even graph it on your number line. There's a number line down there to help you out. All right, hopefully you made your decision. Now, the first thing, if we look at the number line to help us out, we see the smaller numbers over here on the left side of 0, the negative numbers, and the positive numbers on the right side of 0, because they're larger than 0. Square root, positive is and 7/10. Those are positive numbers because they are indicated without a sign, and when we know a number does not have a sign, it's automatically positive. So I'm not going to bother with choice B or C because those are positive answers. I know the smaller numbers that are less than 0 are very, very small. So I'm going to look at pi, which happens to be negative this time. and it's going to be negative 3.14, and half is half a dollar, and this half is negative. So if I had to graph which one was smaller, negative 0.5 is right about here, and negative 3.14 is right about there. So which one is the least? Well, the farther you go to the left, the smaller the number gets. So your answer is going to be negative 3.14, or choice A, which is negative pi. So I hope you got that right. So when you come into class, if you have questions about how to do it, please write them down, what you did not understand, and we'll talk about it in class. So check your understanding. If you understand it, write up what you understood. Here's a nice question. Dion opened a checking account and deposited $24.75. He withdrew, and withdrew means to take out money, $24.75. How much money is left in the checking account? Deposit, when you open a checking account and deposit money, that means you put money inside of the bank. When you withdraw it, you're taking it out to spend. So if he put in or deposited $24.75, and then he withdrew the $24.75, how much do you think he has left? Well, if you said nothing, you are right. He has no money left, because he withdrew the same amount that he deposited. So he has no money left in the account. So here's a nice question. How does the number line below show the sums of a number and its opposite? Does the number line below show the sum of a number and its opposite? This is a yes or no question. So reading from the start on the bottom here, it goes from 0 all the way down to this number over here, which is negative 4. Then it turns around and goes from negative 4 back to 0. So it's going in two directions, and the distance is the same. It goes from 0 to negative 4, then goes up the other direction, negative 4 back to 0. So does that show the sum of a number and its opposite? What do you think? If you said yes, you are right. Because the distance from 0 to negative 4 is negative 4. So you have negative 4. Sum is the answer to addition. Plus you have going from negative 4 to 0, you're going to the right 4 spaces, a total of positive 4. So you're really adding a number and its opposite. You're doing something in one direction, then you're doing the exact opposite in another direction, and you're canceling each other out. And that's why when you're talking about opposites or additive inverses, they add up to 0, or their sum is 0. So check for your understanding. Hopefully you understand it. If you don't, come in with your questions. So I hope you got something out of this video. Here's a question for you to try on your own. See which expression is modeled by the number line. And this is where we'll pick up with our activities in the classroom. So again, this is Dr. Robinson. I hope you got something out of this video, and please watch it again if you have questions or uncertain about things that you really need to see. So good luck. Thank you so much for watching, and look for our next study video real soon.